It's Friday Night Live with Vince, pregame, postgame show. Your destination for top high school football previews and wrap-ups with Vince and his team. Buckle up and hang on for Friday Night Live. Good evening and welcome to a later edition of Friday Night Live postgame show. My name is Vince DeLisio, joined by our hosts for the evening out of the University of Arizona in Tucson, Anastasia Rastelli, and out of the University of Houston in Houston, Texas, Manav Gupta. Anastasia, Manav, how's it going? A little late, sorry.
Yes, it's going great though.
Yeah, pretty late, but doing great. Great night of action.
All right, let's rock. We had 11 games tonight between Metro Phoenix area, the Tucson metropolitan area, and Las Vegas, Nevada. And we're going to kick things off with Andrew Neeram, who is going to give us kind of a post-game wrap of Campo Verde out in Gilbert High School, Campo Verde and Skyline. Let's bring him on. Take it away, Anastasia.
Hi, Andrew. How's it going?
It's going good. It was a great game, and it was a really fun atmosphere.
Awesome. So how did this game play out from start to finish? What did you notice?
Yeah, so it really started lopsided. The quarterback for Campo Verde, Jonah Lubno, got 2 rushing touchdowns and then threw for a third. And I think pregame I was like, these defenses are going to really be the test of the tails. And Campo Verde's defense was amazing. They had, I think, a total of 4 interceptions on the night. They ran away with the game in the first half, and then really the second half was there as a courtesy and trying to just finish the game up.
And was there a key turning point or like momentum shift that like played to the winning team side?
Yeah, so Joey Lubno got those first 2 touchdowns, and momentum was going good, but Skyline had started moving down the field, and right as they did, Campo Verde's number 4, Wyatt Rao, got the interception, and it was a pick 6. And so right as Skyline was getting momentum, Campo Verde answered right after with a pick 6. And so I think that really shifted and really helped Campo Verde secure the win.
Well, awesome. Thank you for reporting tonight. Have a great evening.
Of course.
All right, that was our first, and definitely not our last. We got a lot of games to report on tonight. While we're waiting for Matt McCord to check in with us, we're going to head out to Arcadia Post and Butte, where our very own Anissa Reynolds was on the call tonight. She helped out on the call with Matt McCord just joined us. Let's go to Matt McCord. All right, here we go. Bringing on Matt McCord and Manav Gupta. And Matt McCord, here he is. Okay, take it away, Manav.
Hey, Matt, how was the game tonight?
Bit of a blowout, to say the least. Mesa won 45-7, so wasn't the most crazy game, but it was entertaining nonetheless. There were 7 fumbles, I think, in the game, so it was. We saw a lot tonight.
And what do you think went wrong for Cesar Chavez?
I mean, the game was 10-7 at halftime. They were down 3 points. They immediately in the second half, Mesa just ran the ball like crazy. I mean, Cesar Chavez could not stop the run. There were just gaping holes all over the offensive line. They ran up and down the field, whatever they wanted, Mesa. And offensively on top of that, Cesar Chavez couldn't throw the football. I mean, it's pretty simple. They just couldn't throw the football. So the run game was okay, but they couldn't throw the football offensively. So just overall, not the greatest game.
And what were some key players of the game, if you had any guys that stood out to you?
Yeah, on the Mesa side, they had a few good players. They had a running back named Rio Arnett, who was incredible. He was just going up and down the field like crazy. And they had a quarterback that was starting, I think it was either his first or second game of the year. His first name was Boogie. His last name, I think, was Armida. I think it was, if I remember. I don't have my roster on me right now, but he was incredible getting out of the pocket as well. On the Cesar Chavez side, I mean, they have a running back that's pretty good. His name is, I think it's Paris Jenkins. he played a little bit, and then he had a defensive lineman with the last name Bell. He was pretty good. He was our player of the game. But other than that, it was a pretty one-sided in terms of a Mesa win.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matthew. Great reporting tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, so this is Devin. He was at the Desert Mountain and Chaparral game. Devin, what a matchup. How could you sum up this game overall?
It was definitely a rivalry game. There was a lot of intensity. It was a very close game. The final score was 16-6, and both defenses really showed up tonight.
Mm-hmm. And was there a turning point that really changed the momentum of the game? What did you notice in terms of that?
Honestly, no. Like, it was just a defensive stalemate almost the entirety of the game. There was a few points where Chaparral really could have took momentum. In the first quarter, on their very first offensive play, they had a trick play, double pass, 60-yard touchdown. And for a second there, it felt like Chaparral could have pulled away, but Desert Mountain didn't allow it. And then in the start of the second half, Chaparral actually had 2 red zone interceptions on back-to-back drives. And it felt like Chaparral could have got something going, but Desert Mountain's defense was just way too much for them to handle.
And were there any key players throughout the game that you want to highlight?
Yeah, definitely. Easton Connor, who just this season, he has proved to be such a stud. He's only a sophomore at Desert Mountain, and he plays both sides of the ball. He's really good middle linebacker, and he's a great running back. He was our player of the game tonight because he's just flying all over the field on both sides of the ball. Ryan McDonough for Desert Mountain High School, he was also he played incredible in the secondary. He didn't allow Chaparral's passing game to get going at all either. So just the defensive unit as a whole, really, for Desert Mountain stood out tonight.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for covering tonight's game.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Well, we're going to now be joined by Anissa Reynolds, who was at the Arcadia versus Post and Butte game. Anissa, how was the game tonight?
It was very entertaining. Arcadia started it off and pretty much led the way the entire way. I mean, they won 35-12 against Post and Butte tonight.
And what was the experience like at the game, the atmosphere overall?
It was very loud. We actually got to talk to the athletic director at Arcadia, and they brought out a bunch of young Arcadian fans, and they were on the field, so the crowd was pretty hyped tonight.
And what were some big performances by players tonight? Which players stood out to you?
Ryan Jimenez, the running back, to open up the game, actually, he had a opening 60-yard carry for a touchdown. And that set the tone for Arcadia the entire night. So he was very impressive to watch.
And what went wrong with Post and Butte tonight? What were they struggling with?
Post and Butte struggled with the cadence that Arcadia had set to start the game. Arcadia was moving very quick. All of their, possessions were pretty much 30 seconds or less. They were in and out on offensively, and Post and Butte just couldn't really handle the speed of the game.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being out at the game tonight. Looks like Arcadia had a big win.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, and now we have Jorge here, who is covering the Viva Varsity game. Jorge, give us your breakdown. How did this game unfold?
Well, it was a game that was really dominated by Brent Franklin. They ended up winning 35-7, and so the score doesn't really tell so much the domination, but I mean, they were able to control the ball. The game went by in a blink. It was over at 9:05. That's how well they controlled the ball. That's how well they ran the ball today. So that's what really stood out to me in this game.
And where do you think their strength was, on the defensive or offensive side?
Definitely. I mean, both. Like, the defense held Ironwood to 0 points up until the fourth quarter there. I'm sorry, the third quarter, and it wasn't until the third quarter till Ironwood got its first points. But really, the offense shined, and particularly this kid Stather from Ironwood. I'm sorry, let me get his name right here. Yes, Talon Stather here. Sather, I'm sorry. He had 3 catches for 67 yards, 2 touchdowns, but his biggest play was a 79-yard punt return where he lateraled it to his teammate. They almost got a touchdown out of it. So he was all over the field. He was playing both sides. He really stood out today.
Well, that's awesome, Jorge. Thank you so much for covering tonight's game. And now we're going to head over to commercial break.
Hello, I'm Andrew Neeram, a junior at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I'm excited to show the Varsity Sports Show everything that I can offer on any side of production as I express my love for this business throughout the fall of 2025.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat. APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, A-A-P-A-K, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase.
Hello, Varsity Sports Show family. I'm Tommaso Perez from ASU. Join me as I bring you inspiring sports stories and updates from our Catholic schools, where faith, tradition, and athletics come together. Catch me live on KDOS 1060 AM, Saturdays from 9 to 11, and during Varsity Sports Show game broadcast.
Back here 11:30 latest, so legit get in the car and dip go to the game. But you guys can you can drink on the
All right, welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Varsity Sports Show. Really late night here, but had 11 games to cover. It was a record for us, and now we're joined by Antonio, who covered the Highland versus Horizon game. How was the game today?
I mean, it was a great game tonight. It was a lot of fun. I mean, Horizon came out dominating in the first half, but in the second half, Highland really woke up and they won tonight, 24-20.
How did you think they pulled it out at halftime? What changed?
Yeah, I mean, the offense had, I think I want to say 3 first downs in the first half total for Highland, and they come out in the second half, and in 3 possessions, they score 3 times. They score 17 points alone in the third quarter. So they found number 8, Anthony Martin, the senior wide receiver. He had 2 touchdowns on the night, including the go-ahead, or I guess you could say winning touchdown at the end with around 8 minutes left. Got a 40-yard receiving touchdown, so he was a key player for them.
And what was the atmosphere like? Looks like it was a pretty close game in the second half.
Oh yeah, it was a fun game out there for sure, because it was the homecoming game for Horizon. So they were stands were packed and they were loud all game, but a little bit more quiet towards the end when they lost. But it was very hype and close game.
And what was, I guess, the biggest moment of the game for you? Something that I guess really surprised you?
Yeah, I can give one for both, but I think the biggest moment was that 40-yard touchdown to Anthony Martin at the end of the game. It was a great play action pass, and it really just switched the whole momentum. And then another big play was probably the last offensive play for Horizon, 4th and 11. They had an open receiver, but he just was not able to get his feet in bounds, and that would have continued the game. So if he would have got his feet in bounds, it might be a different story.
Yep, awesome. Thank you so much, Antonio. Great game tonight.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Hi, Dane. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing good. So, Dane, this one stayed close right until the end. What stood out to you most?
Yeah, this was a really awesome game. Hopefully, we get this one outside of just NFHS. It was an awesome game. Arizona Lutheran comes out on top on homecoming night. Sebi Guy, our player of the game, was just an absolute phenom out there on the field. He was running the ball, catching the ball. He was doing everything you could in a really run-heavy offense with Arizona Lutheran. It was a battle of the defenses over there. First half ended 7-6. Arizona Lutheran stayed on top because they blocked an extra point from Parker, and special teams really came down and decided in the end and ended 19-12. So it was a great game.
And what were some key players that you watched tonight?
Yeah, like I was saying, Sebi Guy was probably the most impactful player. Of course, Xavier Rodriguez, the quarterback, plays a huge role. He's kind of the brains behind that whole triple option wing T type offense they got going on over there. Liam Enter too. I mean, he's just a dog. He's that close range type of running back. He hits the hole and he just carries everybody in the hole with him through it. But it was a heck of a game. Parker did a great job airing the ball out as well, but they just weren't able to capitalize when they needed to. And Arizona Lutheran came out on top on a pretty electric homecoming night. Ton of fans, ton of alumni. It was an awesome game.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dane, for covering that game tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, now we're going to be moving on to Keithan, who had probably one of the standout games of tonight. Red Mountain versus Mountain View. That was one terrific game. How was it out there?
I mean, it was easily the game of the year for me personally. In all the games that I've covered, you kind of hear it in my voice just a little bit. That was just a lot of loud calls, a lot of excitement. It was a homecoming night. It was packed to the gills. It felt like a playoff game.
And how did Red Mountain pull this off at the end?
Well, Red Mountain, just to give a very like a Cliff Notes version of the game, Red Mountain went up 17-0 to start the game. Mountain View answered back with 22 unanswered. We go into the second half. Only points scored were a touchdown at the beginning of the fourth quarter by Red Mountain. Kai Jackson, little rushing touchdown at the end, and that's all she wrote. Mountain View was just unable to get anything going in the second half offensively, and that's credit to Red Mountain's defense. They were incredible in the second half.
And who was I guess the player of the game for each side?
Well, like I said, Kai Jackson, 2 touchdowns on the game. He was incredible for Red Mountain. And then on the opposite side of the ball, Talon Arnett for Mountain View was excellent. 2 touchdowns in his own right and 2 incredibly difficult touchdowns. Was incredible. It was it was an electric game for both sides. And I hope these teams somehow meet each other in the playoffs later down the line. I understand the rankings are a little off, but it was excellent. It was so fun.
And was there one big play that really stood out to you? Was there something that you'll really remember?
The opening kickoff going for 80 yards is pretty cool, but I think the heartbreaker was the interception at the end of the game. Goodman threw, it was around the 15-yard line. They were going for a little tight end mid-screen, and it fell right into the hands of a Red Mountain defender, and they just drew out the clock, and that's all she wrote.
Awesome. Well, great reporting, Keithan. Thanks so much.
Of course. Have a good one, guys.
And looks like we're going to be heading out to a commercial break now.
Hey guys, Vince here to talk about Angel Dentistry. It's where my wife and I have gone for over 10 years, and we trust them with our routine and extensive dental care because they care. Dr. Amber Angel is an Arizona native, born in the town of Miami, and has been practicing in the Valley over 20 years. For general to comprehensive dental services, call 602-788-2008. Located off of Cave Creek Road just north of the 101 in North Phoenix. Angel Dentistry, proud supporters of our young people and proud partners of the Varsity Sports Show.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Friday Night Live post-game show. We are here with Spencer. Spencer, Desert View came out pretty strong. What did you see from them tonight?
Indeed, they did. They had some interesting strategies. I believe it's called some kind of side kick. Was I can't remember the exact name of it, but that was one they brought out quite a bit. And also, like they had very strong offense indeed throughout the whole game. So that was very hard to step up against.
And what was the atmosphere like that game?
Despite like the Dorados not doing as well as we might have hoped, the fans were still having a great time. It was very electric. People were having a great time, and so I think overall it was a good experience.
And what do you think both programs will build off of this performance moving forward?
I think well, I'd say the Jaguars they have another win under their belt. They'll keep moving forward, keep use this as another good motivator, and I'd say the same for the Dorados. It'll definitely be a good motivator in a different sense, but still all the same.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer, for covering tonight's game.
Of course, thank you.
All right. Well, now looks like we're going to be moving on to Thomas here, who was in Las Vegas tonight. Liberty looks like they had a big win tonight. How was the game tonight, Thomas?
It was good. Yeah, like you said, Liberty got a big win. 49-7 was the final. And, yeah, I mean, they just had an onslaught, especially on offense.
And who are some key players that stood out to you?
Anthony Albero, that was star of the game, multiple touchdowns, but I'm sure he would give credit to the entire offensive line as they carried them to victory.
And what was really like the atmosphere like out there?
You know, there really wasn't like a lot of people there as I expected, but the ones that were there, they made up for the ones that weren't there. And yeah, it's always loud over there in Liberty.
And what went wrong for Basic tonight? What can they learn from this?
Yeah, Javion Rose, the quarterback, he had a couple pick sixes, but I mean, when you're faced against like a powerhouse like Liberty, it's kind of hard to compete. You know, they're sitting at 2-7 now. We're 2-6, but yeah, I mean, it was just overall just not their night, honestly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being out there tonight, Thomas. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Yep.
And now we are with Rodolfo, who's in Sacramento. Sounds like it was going to be an exciting game with those 6 recruits. How did it unfold? What happened?
Well, it was a complete domination by Folsom High School. They won 48-7 against Whitney. It was completely a blowout. I think one of the players that stood out the most is actually a sophomore, who is number 20, Bronson Bambino, who actually scored 2 touchdowns and has been one of the best players overall this season.
Awesome. And what were some strengths that you saw from the other side, although it was a pretty big blowout?
Well, I believe their offense was good overall, going back and forth against Folsom. But Folsom overall, they're very disciplined, and when you face a disciplined team, it's very hard to run after them and make a couple of mistakes. I think they were pretty clean throughout the whole game. It just when you face a really good team, it's tough to beat them.
Mm-hmm. And what was the atmosphere like overall?
Well, I mean, it was there were a lot of Folsom people in the stadium rather than Whitney, because they were going to watch this kid. We already talked about it at the pregame show, Ryder Lions, and this team who's overall looking for, like I said, their 5th straight section championship. I think this team is really heading towards that. We'll see how it goes throughout the season as the season unfolds, but they're a really good team.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for covering that tonight, Rodolfo.
Yeah, absolutely, Anastasia. Have a good one.
You too.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to... Okay. Awesome. So here, now we're going back out to Vegas. What was the game like tonight?
I mean, it was pretty much a blowout on Bishop Gorman's, and as expected, they scored 44 points in the first half. However, it was very calm in the second half, as Bishop Gorman did not. It was actually they did not score any points in the second half, but overall it was a great game on Bishop Gorman's end.
And what went well for Bishop Gorman? What did they do well in the game?
I think it was very well executed both offensively, defensively, especially on the offensive side. You saw many players wide open. You saw many players wide open, not being touched, and it all started with Noah Cole. He had kickoff return for the touchdown at the beginning of the game, and that really set off Gorman's offense tonight.
And what was the atmosphere like? I know you mentioned it was a crazy blowout at halftime. Did people stay after that, or how did it go?
Yes, people did stay after that. It did stay after this. It was actually senior night at Bishop Gorman, so it was an incredible ceremony at the beginning of the game, honoring. They had 23 seniors playing tonight, so all the fans were behind them all night tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the great reporting.
Thank you.
And now we're heading out back to Texas. So how did this game play out overall?
So up until the half, things kind of Kilgore got on top, but it was they could have got back in. However, in the second half of the game, LaKelleon Graves got a pick six early in the third. And then later in the third, this is when he's on outside linebacker at a 4A school. That's not usual to have a player play full roles there. And then later on in the third, as a wide receiver, he catches a pass from Kason Brooks, 44 yards for another touchdown. Now, not for another touchdown. That set up a play 2 or 3 plays later for Kason to throw to Jacqueline Sheffield for a touchdown, 27 yards. But Lindale wasn't all the way out. Hank Thurman rushed 26 yards in the beginning of the fourth quarter for a Lindale touchdown. And then later on, he rushed for another 14 yards for another touchdown. So then at the very, really close to the 2-minute mark, Lindale tries to kick an onside kick and recover it. Well, this goes to, guess who it goes to? Kilgore's own LaKelleon Graves. And so after a little tussle about the ball, Kilgore ends up recovering it, runs out the clock. Final score, 49-29. Kilgore is now 4-0 in the district, and Lindale is 2-1.
Wow, it sounds like a lot happened in this game. What did you notice about the atmosphere while you were there?
So the Lindale people were shaking bells and stuff, and the bands played constant. The halftime show was, both sides had 3 parts to their halftime show. I mean, it was a really putting on the dog type situation.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for reporting on tonight's game.
Oh, anytime, Anastasia. We'll see y'all around.
See you.
All right, there you have it. J.R. Lambright, our very own, with his Texas Tales out in East Texas. What a night, guys. Apologies again. We started the show an hour later. I was actually out producing one of our games tonight. I was at Arizona Lutheran. Great game, great 2A action, and it was about an hour away, but got here, got set up, and appreciate all the hard work of our co-hosts tonight, Anastasia Rastelli in Tucson and Manav Gupta in Houston. Guys, on behalf of our amazing team, our co-hosts, my name is Vince Delicio. Thanks again for joining us here on Friday Night Live Postgame Show. Great work, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Oh, tune into the Varsity Sports Show tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. And again, quick shout out, big thank you to Arizona Lutheran tonight for inviting us out, allowing us to do our pregame show out there. Have a great night, everyone.
It's Friday Night Live with Vince, pregame, postgame show. Your destination for top high school football previews and wrap-ups with Vince and his team. Buckle up and hang on for Friday Night Live.